hello, everybody, and welcome to the second episode of What's the Topic Again podcast. I am one of the co hosts, Emairia Love, aka Mars.
And I am Debra Love, the other co host.
And today's topic is going to be about technology, evolution on our perspectives of technology, and we are just going to be talking about a few different types of technology, things that we probably had to progress and learn on, or either just grow with because of the economy, the environment.
And I just think about as far as technology from, being a product of the 70s
Yeah, yep.
and just seeing how certain things that I grew up with, how it changed for the better
Mm-hmm.
over the years compared to what it was when I was a little girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we're gonna be talking about a couple items of technology that has evolved throughout the years and decades, and yeah, let's get started. And we back.
And first of all, I want to say I hope everyone had a great week. I know this is going to be the start of the new week, especially since daylight savings time ends. So,
Mm-hmm.
now we are fall back. We got that extra hour sleep that we're getting in as far as the week. So I hope everyone had a great week, and hopefully, you know, our Sunday podcast will bring you some joy to start off your week.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree with that too. All right, let's get into the first three things that we're talking about. First thing we're talking about is television.
Yeah.
And I prefer my mom to start with this because it started with her with probably something a lot smaller.
Smaller? No, they were a lot bigger.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I remember growing up, everyone, I mean, we did have small TVs.
Yeah.
We had the little black and white TVs as far as in our bedroom. We did have, I think we didn't get a color TV until I was in high school. I think it was high school or maybe junior high school. I
So
know.
when was that for you?
Huh?
High school, when was that for you?
It was back in the 80s.
Okay.
I'm like,
I'm trying to give people context here.
Okay. It was back in the 80s, but I remember us having a color TV in the living room, and then me and my sister, we had black and white small TV in our bedroom. She wasn't too into watching too much stuff on TV anyway. The TV basically was on my side of the room, so I basically had control of the TV. But it was just the fact that we only had limited channels, just the basic channels. But I know Mama at one time, all she wanted was this big floor model color TV.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like TV, it was like big inside of a box. It took up a lot of space. And it was remote control. We finally had the TV with remote controls because growing up, we had to click, 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 turn, click, 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 click. Passed it. You passed the channel. Now we got to go back around again. Click, 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 click.
You
click,
see that
to
like in
it.
older TV shows that had
Yeah.
it, around that time in the 70s.
If you watch Good Times, if you
Yeah.
watch Brady Bunch,
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
I
Andy
watch
Griffin
Brady Bunch
shows,
a
stuff
lot.
like
That's
that.
what I mean.
Yeah. So if you watch things like that, yeah, it was clicking.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if you fast forward to today to see how, even though we had a big TV on the floor, now those big TVs are mounted on the wall.
Yeah.
So
they a lot
you
thinner
know,
than probably
yeah.
what it was.
So it just really evolved and evolved for the better.
Yeah.
So your first TV.
Yeah. It was small, but naturally anyway, the first like actual, if I would say old style TV that I had growing up was this big brick TV. It was huge, and you had to like press buttons on the bottom to like even switch channels on there specifically. And
You shouldn't have a remote to it.
yeah, it did, but it got lost in like transit.
Okay, so you lost it.
No, I did not lost it,
Yeah.
but specifically it was buttons on the bottom of it, and it was small. I mean, it was kind of bulky, I would say so, but it was a nice TV for like my age as a kid. Anyway,
Right.
I didn't need no big screen TV as a kid. It hurt your eyes. That's what parents say anyway. Stop staring at the TV screen. Gonna hurt your eyes.
Too long. Yeah.
So, specifically, that was like the first TV, and let's just say this: I had the TV, still have the TV after a decade, almost 2 decades anyway.
But that TV, you talking about the TV I got you when you was 5 years old?
Yes.
With the DVD player
Yes.
built in it? she still can use it
Yep.
because they still looking at DVDs. So
I do.
I look at that as being a good thing.
It's like I do look at my old kid DVDs that you used to buy me anyway. Oh my gosh, that TV is old, but
It's
it's
old.
still a good. It's a decent TV. Like if you like see it at like a thrift store or something, somebody will buy that, or a pawn shop. Yeah, somebody would
You
get
can
that.
still put apps and stuff on it, but
Yeah.
yeah, it is an older TV. That TV, ooh, let's say about 2009,
Yeah.
2010.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, that and it just about 13 years ago up until now. Yeah, that is an old TV.
Yeah.
You know, as far as technology is concerned, because it advances so quickly. You know, you can
Mhm.
buy a new TV this month, and probably 6 months down the road, your TV is an old TV compared to the new TV they're gonna put out 6 months later.
Yeah. Like now, anyway, especially with the resolutions, how it used to be like probably
Yeah.
pixelated, and now it's like you looking at it like you're in. It's like real person,
4K.
if not better.
Yeah, it is.
And the
resolution
resolution
is much
is
better.
so good. It's
'Cause
insane.
I think looking at TVs, I think 720 pixel.
Yeah.
Then what now? What 720?
720, 180,
No, I
2
think 1080.
1080. That's what it is.
Yeah. 2160.
Yeah, 2160, and then it jumps to like all the way to 4K, I believe.
4K. Yeah.
Like 2K, like 2K, 4K. I think.
But then
that's
they
how
got
it
some
goes.
other stuff out there too that we don't even know anything about, so we're not going to get into it. I've seen
No.
some stuff, some OLED and all this other
It's
stuff.
like that's
so
too much
that's
nerd
way
talk.
way above my technology level
Yeah.
head. So we're not going to even do that. We're just going to remain in the realm of what it was when I was a kid compared to how it is now, because it's so much better now.
Yes.
But at the time that we were looking at TV,
Mhm.
that's what we knew when we was growing up.
Mhm.
So that
Y'all probably thought that was the
good.
best thing too. You know.
It was. I mean, we were able to watch TV.
Yeah.
You know, for that certain to midnight because all channels shut down at midnight.
Oh yeah.
So that was it. You're gonna hear the national anthem, and TV's not gonna come back on. At least no channel's not gonna come back on until probably 6 o'clock in the morning. I guess if it was at that time. I know when we woke up, the channel was back on.
I got a question. It's like back then anyway. Was it more since just local channels that were just available to y'all, and that was it? It really wasn't that too many networks like that.
Yeah, just local TV.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a certain question. That's all I was.
That's
thinking
all
about.
we needed at that time. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, they used those local networks. Those was the big networks at that time: ABC, NBC,
Mhm.
CBS.
Mhm.
Still the same things that's still in existence today, but it's so many other channels.
Mhm.
You know, along
So many
with that
other
today.
networks that
Yeah,
are out there.
exactly. Compared to how it was, I can you know we can go into the first time that we did get cable TV, that whereas the channels was expanded out a little bit more as far as that, but we really didn't see a whole lot of channels evolving until I got in my 20s or something. Then you can see, because right now you're talking about 200, 400 channels
Yeah.
and stuff. I'm like,
Yeah,
that is too many channels. Who gonna watch that many channels
At once, you know.
Right. So you still gonna be, to me, just a few channels is enough for me. But
Yeah.
moving on, we're gonna go into, because we'll be like,
Yeah, we go like I was about to talk about cable and everything.
see that. So we'll be like, what's the topic again? And we'll be talking
Oh.
about something else.
Oh,
So we're
Lord.
supposed to be talking about technology. So
Yeah.
here we go. Telephones.
Ooh, that's a good one right there. Let me start with myself with my generation. Specifically, my first phone was an iPhone 6, like when it first launched, and that was probably like back in 2014, 15.
I don't know.
I
don't
believe
do
it was
iPhones.
like 2014 or 15. That's what I
I
believe.
couldn't tell you about that.
Like 2014, 15. It's around that time. Let's put it like that. And I remember they finally like extended the line. Like you had the 6, the 6 Plus, the 6S, the 6. Almost all these different versions for the iPhone for the first time. Everybody was swiping it, snatching it up. That was my first ever phone, and I still have an iPhone to this day. I remember even downgrading to a Samsung. Hated every moment of that. But me now, I have an iPhone X. I don't care. That's going to be a phone that I'll have for a little while before I upgrade or something. But specifically, I only got used to just, smarter technology. Slim phones. That's what I was used to.
Well, I'm gonna go back and interject on the iPhone being your first phone, because that was
It was not
your first phone.
That was the first actual phone that I digitally used.
Now, that was the first phone that she actually liked, because
Shush.
I did get her some
We are not
other
talking about-
phones. Yeah,
The-
and she didn't
I
like it,
can
and she didn't
explain.
use it. Yeah, from AT&T. I know I got you a phone.
It was literally the tiniest phone. It's like almost giving a child a
She
BlackBerry
was a
phone.
kid. You weren't even 10 years old at that time.
I would have preferred a tablet, even though I did have one. But you're like, it's an Apple tablet. It's too luxury back then. You know, you need like a tiny little phone. You just need my phone number, your sister's
That's
phone
all.
number, and
That's all
your
you
dad's
need
phone number.
to
That's
call.
it.
That's it. And grandma.
Yeah, that
That's
was
it.
it.
Yeah.
And even texting, it was like it was a limited time for texting on that little phone, and you
We
only could
worked it out.
download a few apps. It was probably like 16 gigs. That ain't a lot.
Well, try having a house phone where it was the rotary dial before they did the push button where you had to go.
Oh, like oh my god.
And it's gonna come back. It's gonna come back. 6.
So you almost had to remember each one while it waits in between.
No, you just dial 6, and then it's gonna pop back in place. 3.
That's what I'm saying. Like remember each number while you're turning the thing.
You got to
like on
the number. See now, we need to go back and Problem had to go back in time and find some old phones and bring that in so she can exactly know what I'm talking about. She have no clue right now.
Let me understand. Okay, no, let me understand for a second. So specifically, you would I'm gonna say.
Let me pull it up on my phone. That's what we're gonna have to do.
I'm gonna say we're gonna turn it specifically, like say for instance, like it starts with the 6.
This is so crazy.
No, it starts with the. No, let me explain. It starts with the 6.
The phone number starts with a 6.
Yeah, I'm about to say you go to 6, then you let it set for a second, then you turn to the next number and you let it set for a second.
It's going back.
That's what I'm saying.
It keeps going back. Let me show you the phone.
Lord have mercy, Jesus. She showed me a video.
That's a rotary dial phone.
I know what I'm talking about specifically.
They even have them on Amazon.
I'm like, because it's retro.
Yeah, so you're gonna have to do the 6, let it go.
That's what I'm saying.
Then do the 3 and let it go. But the thing about it is you got to remember the number because if you if you went 6-3. If the phone number is 636-8646, I'm just making up some random phone number. If it's that,
don't call this number, please, for out of somebody else's safety.
if it's that number, if you dial 6-3, and then instead of hitting 6, you hit 5, now you got to hang the phone up and start all back over again.
I see with the rotary phones how it is in TV shows, and that's how I explained it. But you're like, no, that's not it.
No, we had to go see a picture because I wasn't getting your visual.
Okay,
I wasn't getting your visual.
What I just said in the first place, that's what I meant.
But we had phones in the house, and basically the phone was in the living room, maybe in my mama room, in the bedroom, and then there was one in the kitchen. So with those phones, when we got older, Mama allowed us to have one in our bedroom. But another story would be with my sister being on the phone, but that's a whole nother story, so we ain't going to worry about that. But it was just the fact of you had those phones in the house in order to communicate as far as with other people. That was our way of communicating as far as telephones. Payphones was out at that time. I don't think no payphone is in existence these days because everybody have a cell phone.
Yeah.
As of right now. So it's just how phones evolved until the point of you really don't need a house phone anymore because you have your cell phone.
Yeah. Like even a child nowadays has like a cell phone of their own. It's like, why does a 6-year-old have an iPhone or the good Samsung phone or a Google phone, something? I'm going to say just have the good phones that are out.
Parents want them to have it. Parents, I guess, can afford it.
I guess so.
It comes with
probably just for convenience,
4 or 5 playing thing, or maybe it could be, they probably playing all those games. They got YouTube Kids and everything else, so maybe it could be for that too. So I don't know. You weren't gonna have one at 5 or 6 years old.
No, it's not like a good phone,
Nope, that's why you ain't have a phone because you ain't want that phone I gave you. So
no, I just dealt with the laptop and called it a day. That was it.
Well, I mean, that was your choice. I wasn't gonna.
Yeah, that was me.
You really didn't need it because we were together at all times.
Yeah.
So why did you need a phone?
Yeah,
you didn't need a phone.
All right, let's get into the next one, which is dealing with cell phones. Now, this is different on the sense of like with telephones. It's on the sense of with cell phones. I mean, technically, the devices that we have now are like a connected telephone, cell phone type of thing because it uses cellular data. But
yeah, but you have cell towers and all that stuff. So in order to be connected to things like that. But the first cell phone that we seen, we thought it was cool in the 70s with the big old bulky cell phone that we seen on TV when
like the ones that specifically
it had an antenna on it.
Yeah.
It was like a big phone you had towards your ear. It was crazy. They still had to push dial things on or whatever, but it was a big bulky cell phone. We're like, wow, they got cell phone. You know, you can call somebody, you're not in the house. So we thought, hey, that's technology at that time. But it evolved. It became better and better.
Instead of bulky, now it's like slimmed down, easy to fit in your pocket.
You can put that one in your pocket.
No, you can't put that in your purse.
Right, you couldn't.
It's so big. I know what you're talking about there, mother. It's because you see it in like classic TV shows, or at most, people have it as decor for like retro style stuff. That's what I'm saying.
That was crazy, though. Yeah. But that's how they started off. As far as it takes someone to start off with, so you have to use what you have at that time period.
Right.
So what they had at that time period, in order to make for it to work, they had to do it that way. So now it's like so many, they put up towers so your phone can ping from this tower to that tower.
Especially if you're traveling a distance or whatever, for sure. Especially like by car or like, just transportation on land. If it's in the air, obviously it ain't gonna be that well connected unless your airport got it.
You should have seen the phones in the car.
I know.
Ain't nothing like, click and you on a speaker or whatever as far as the phone being in the car. Now, you still had that cord and everything put into your ear with the phone being in the car back in the day. So those cell phones...
See, that was luxury cars, how it was now. Obviously.
Yeah, I think you had to be a luxury car. It didn't come in everything the way it comes right now, where you connect your phone once you get in the car.
Yeah, almost like a radio or something. Like, not a radio, a station, the radio station specifically, that'll be in the cars or whatever. They're now like built into it, that has the music and everything to it. Everything nowadays in a car has the Bluetooth, all of that.
Right. So I don't know how that was connected as far as being in a car. I know it was luxury cars at that time. I had to do some research, a little bit more research on that.
Yeah.
Just telling things from my own perspective as far as how I lived and what I grew up with. Some other people probably had the opportunity to grow up with something much better. But with me, that was my neighborhood, that was my family, and that's what we grew up with.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. All right, so we're going to get into 3 more other topics, beginning with technology, and we're going to be back after this short little break. Alrighty, speaking of cars, the next thing that we're talking about is cars.
Yep, I can remember my first car I got was 1979 Toyota Corolla, 2-door hatchback. I was happy. Little white car, 2 doors to it or whatever. But it was just a little basic car. It was a small car with the leather seats, and the gear shift was in the floor or whatever. But it was still a nice car. But it wasn't no whole lot of bells and whistles in it like it is today. Yeah. As far as safety is concerned, you had your seat belts and stuff like that, but just AM/FM radio. I don't even think I had a cassette player up in there, because that's all we would have growing up was cassette players. If I can go back a little bit further than that, they didn't have cassette players. They had 8-track players in cars, so you don't know anything about the 8-track.
I heard about 8-tracks and I seen what they look like. I'm like, 8-track, really?
That's what we had.
Oh my gosh.
The 8-track. So we had.
That's far back right there.
That's 70s, 60s, 70s.
That's far back.
8-track. Right, so that was in the car, and then now just go from 8-tracks to cassettes. Then they had CDs. Now it's nothing.
Yeah.
You don't even need any of that.
No, because now you're dealing with like radio stations,
satellite radio.
And also just, Spotify exists.
Yeah, and I think they have Apple Music, so things like that. You have those apps already built into your radio.
Yep.
Whereas you don't even need anything. You can just ask to play any music that you wanted to play, and it plays that. So that's how, as far as me, just seeing the cars go. So I know my people, generations before me, even if we go and we talk to mama about stuff like that, you can say, okay, we just we probably didn't even have no radio at the time that
No, it was
we
just
got
like
our
if
first
it
car.
long as it drives and gets me to destination A and B, that's
Right,
all that matters, you
right.
know.
I don't even think they even had seat belts or whatever when
Not like
she
that.
was growing up either. But it's just the fact that still you utilize the technology that you have for that time frame,
Mhm.
and that's what you did with it. So each generation it gets better,
Mhm.
it's get better, and it's get better.
Yeah,
But
and like I was saying, just in general with like the stations in the cars nowadays, from it being, you know, you had to have like a whole collection of CDs and everything
I
like
had
that,
that.
which you
I
did.
had that. Yeah.
Now it's almost like, let me just do shuffle play on Spotify right here real quick, and that's how simple it is now, you know.
Yeah. The first time I learned how to drive a standard shift, it was a Volkswagen Beetle, and it didn't have numbers because some of them used to have a little ball on it and it had first, second, third. You know what gear you need to be in.
Mhm.
That one you just had to feel to
Mhm.
know you was in first. Put it to second, go back over to third, and pull it back to fourth
Mhm.
in order for you to go into reverse and everything else. It was crazy, but I learned how to drive it. It was nice. It was nice. Just going from a standard shift to a car, not just um, just a standard drive car, just just normal.
Mhm.
Um, it it was okay.
Yeah.
You still had to get used to not putting your hand. I did reach
Yeah.
until
Cause
I
we did have a
yeah
car at one point in time, at least like a rental. We did that, and it didn't have that at all. And
yeah
you're like, what?
yeah. I'm still trying to reach the shift gears, so I don't have to do that anymore. But yeah, that I don't know. I may get a standard shift again. I don't know. I don't need to.
No, but
Automatic is fine.
yeah.
Automatic is good.
I mean, a lot of the cars nowadays, especially can we talk about on the sense of like the Teslas and stuff like that, that are just on their own. You still can steer the car, but it mostly like drives you to the destination of where you can go. In my opinion, those cars are a wee bit too advanced. That's like definitely a trust in a vehicle that you're spending X amount of money for. That is, you know, does it does the driving on its own. You know.
But that's the age they trying to get us to.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, because even though we won't be talking about this until like, you know, next episode specifically, but you know, like how it is for the Jetsons and stuff like that.
Yeah. I would say with the Jetsons was I think came out in the late '60s or
Mhm.
whatever. So
Even sometimes, like nowadays with the Simpsons, they still like, you know, mention things like that. I see some like episode clips. I don't watch it like that, but still.
Simpsons was decades after the Jetsons. So just to even have that in place at that time, and just to look at the writers to even come up with things like that at that time, it was amazing.
Yeah.
They way advanced.
They like thought if like way
Yeah.
ahead. It's
Yeah.
like, whoa. They
Yeah.
would think this would happen like on the sense of like almost 2010 type talk when they did all that stuff or something, or like in just the 2000s. Then probably the all that would happen.
You would think, but even some of the things that they even like the flying cars that they
Yeah.
had in theirs at that time, flying cars would have probably even thought about.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And then I like the fact that they were when they were like, if it was raining,
yeah,
and she would call Henry, who was the, I guess you say, the concierge of the building or whatever, and ask him, okay, Henry, it's raining. Can you take our house above the rain? So he would raise the house up. So
I guess
they
Henry
could
was
be-
almost like the Alexa nowadays, almost.
He was real though.
Yeah,
He was
but,
real.
But still, though, it's like still it's like in command of something or doing something. Like an Alexa will control your lights, control.
Well, yeah, he did
so-
have control of right there, control of the buildings. He just know what apartment number they were in, and he just raised it up.
Okay, before we just start
Still,
going into
yeah,
another tangent,
going-
Jesus Christ,
yeah,
let's
we-
keep it, push it. We are talking about next computers. Ooh, I would love to start talking about this one for a second.
Go ahead.
Specifically, with computers, for me, I remember a thick Windows computer, wasn't it? Specifically, the one that was like so bulky, it was like gray or whatever, and broke it, dropped it several times as a little kid. And I remember playing games on there, you know, specifically how convenient it was, you know.
The Windows computer
Windows, really. HP, you know what I'm talking about?
that you had in your bedroom.
Not my bedroom one, specifically the laptop, that one. Yours.
That was a laptop, not a desktop.
I did have a desktop though.
Yeah.
Later on.
Yeah.
By myself, but still though I'm all over the place with scatterbrain. But I'm talking about the laptop one. That was the first thing I ever like played on, and it was like in like 2010 or whatever. And that it was my mom's laptop, and it had Windows on it. And I'm talking about the Windows on the sense of you have to deal with if you press the thing to it, it's like and it's like okay, time to stop. Or even if it's loading and you try to like just do anything else, it takes forever.
Yeah,
the downloads were insane. Trying to even get a game on like Windows back then,
it took a few hours.
Yeah, it felt like I'm about to age 10 years in my chair.
We didn't think about how it was being connected.
Yeah,
you still have your internet service provider, true
right.
enough, but the speed was not like the speed it is right now.
Yeah,
when it come down to that. So I know the first computer that I had the monitor, the big bulky back side to it.
Not like I didn't have that. We didn't have that in our household, but
right. And then had the tower to it. So now when you buy a computer, everything is all in one.
Yep.
So your memory, your whole motherboard, all that is built inside of that system. So it's so much better than what it was, because if I wanted to move my computer from one room to the next, I got to go get the monitor. I got to go back and get the tower.
The big bulky monitor, because it's not like it was light. That thing was heavy.
It was heavy. Had to go back and get the keyboard.
Yeah.
Then you had your mouse and all that, a part of it too. So all of that compared to fast forward today, it's
such slick
so
designs.
Much better.
Like such slick designs, and they don't make it like so bulky no more.
Right.
Easy to transport. Even with laptops, it's like nice and good, portable now, and it's really good.
But to go from the system of being able to go to the library and use a computer.
Yeah, I do remember
and
that.
then have to, if you didn't have a computer at home, at times when my computer was not working at home, I was able to still have a flash drive, and I would take what I needed to be printed or to look over it again on that computer at the library, and use that printer to print stuff out for a small fee.
Yeah.
Do that, as far as there was an alternative for people who did not have computers at home. So.
Yeah, and the last thing that we'll be talking about is, well, at least not the last full thing. Last thing in this little segment is typewriters.
Have you ever used a typewriter?
No. No. I have a like bubble keyboard that acts like a typewriter for like that feeling more sense, but not really an actual retro typewriter. No.
Yeah, my experience with a typewriter, my first class that I had as far as typing, it was a class for me, was in the 5th grade. I started learning how to type. Where you go to our little, they had everybody set up in their own little booth.
And cubicles and stuff?
Kind of like a cubicle, yeah, but they had the little walls set up, as far as long table walls, and not like an actual cube. But anyway, we set up like that in school, and we would put our headsets on, and you can hear a recording as far as the teacher had already went with us as far as our home keys, ASDF, JKL, semicolon. So you put your fingers there, and you listen to this thing say F, 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 space, J, 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 space, K, 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 space, and you typing.
Yeah, I remember even taking class like that, and it did the same thing. They did the same thing for me anyway, obviously with a keyboard.
Right. And a computer.
It's still the same audio, though.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah.
That's decades right there.
But then you had the ribbon. You had to change the ribbon out on the typewriter. Today, you type. The only thing that you really having to change anything or add anything to is your printer.
Yeah.
So at that particular time, we were typing in real time, and while we were typing, your paper was coming up as you was typing, so you were doing it at that time. Right now, you do stuff. I look at it. I think to me, a typewriter kind of like evolved into a laptop.
Yeah, basically. Well, you can say that.
Yeah.
Either at most, not only like a laptop where you can like see everything that you're typing, but also on top of that, just in general of evolution of the keyboard,
Right.
from it being, stacked up on heights like how it
Yeah.
used to be. Now it is compressed down and it's more flat and you can see every letter,
Right.
see everything, just period.
I mean, with the typewriter, I really enjoy it. Really having a
It looks
typewriter.
dope, to be honest.
I like the typewriter sound.
Yeah, it's the sound. It's
I
the
like
sound.
that sound. So then if you go back some years, it didn't go back on its own. You had to push it back.
Yeah, push it back. Yeah,
You seen it go over, but now, at that time when we were doing it, it automatically the electric typewriter, it when it, but you had to have your margins set. If you didn't have your margins set, it was gonna type on off the paper.
Oh.
So your margins had to be set in order for it to go back. You do it on your laptop. I mean, I think right now when you're doing it on your laptop, and if you're in a Word document, it automatically have those margins set up
on
for
those
you.
apps that you have on your
yeah.
laptop that would automatically like just go to the next sentence, go to the next sentence after that. And sometimes you can even do settings for it to like leave a little space to it or anything like that, just for some sort of like portfolio or anything like that that's required.
No, you're not gonna believe this. If we wanted to change the font size, we had to change the bearing on there. If we want to have Courier, if you
like
want to
the
have
actual little,
you had to take the whole ball up and put another ball on there, lock it in, and then it give you that letter type.
oh.
Yeah, so you just had to stop. So you had to just know what you was gonna type it in,
And
what
you wonder
font
why-
size you're gonna type it in at that time.
And you
Yeah.
wonder why people wanted to do calligraphy, like pretty handwriting on their own, because I mean, was they that convenient, or more since were they expensive back then to even have it in a household?
Typewriters?
Yeah.
They started off expensive. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And I think they went from typewriters to word processors or something like that.
Mm.
That's where they did have the screen as far as with the word processing. They was more portable than what a typewriter was because you had a cover to put on it and this and that. But it's still, I mean, we don't need neither one of them in our household growing up. We had no typewriter, no word processor, no computer, anything like that growing up at the house. So no, I got my own computer when I moved out. I didn't get anything growing up like that.
I'm gonna say more. This is it's educating me slowly, because I mean, you telling me about a few things that you did in your childhood and even as in your adulthood period. But hearing the explanation is definitely like, oh, it is more thought process than what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's things like that. You have to think about it. To me, at that point in time, if you had something like that, you were more or less either you were privileged, as far as I can say, you was privileged, or your family had made the sacrifice for that child to have a typewriter in the household, or maybe someone knew somebody. Maybe somebody passed away, or it was a family member owned it, or a company went out of business or something like that. Maybe they end up being privileged to have.
All right, that's specifically, about typewriters and everything else, and we are going to take a little break, and we'll be right back. Alrighty, and the next thing we have is wait, Mama. Her do her little dancey dance just while we like the music.
It's a little short break. When you say we're gonna take a break and be back, it'd be like 3 seconds.
I mean, it's 3 seconds for you to pause, get something to drink, maybe a blanket, maybe, you trying to pause for a second just to pump some gas. I don't know.
Right. I don't know, but yeah.
Anywho, next thing that my mom wrote down is washing machines.
Yes. We had our evolution of washing machines. When I'm saying evolution of washing machines in my household.
Okay.
Our first washing machine that I can remember had the 4 legs on it. You had to put the water in the tub and a part to wash. It was electric.
Okay.
You had to plug it in, and then Mama put the washing powder and stuff in there, and it would go back and forth. Like, yeah. So we went back and forth like that. And in order for us to wring the clothes, it had a thing that was bulky on top of it, and you would take the clothes and you put the clothes in and pull the thing down, and it'll pull the clothes to the other side, wringing the water out of it.
I am I am appalled.
So I'm about to show her a picture of it.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. I mean, you hear people like traditional have like the washboard and all that, you know.
We had washboard. I remember that too.
And specifically, you know, hanging on clothesline and stuff like
Yep,
that.
did
You know,
that.
I hear things about that. I never knew those type of washing machines were like that for y'all back then, though.
Yeah, that washing machine.
Well, you know.
Yeah, that washing machine was outside. But it was just the fact that that's the way. Either we was gonna ring it with that ringer, and what they call it, the ringer, or we were gonna be wringing it out with our hands.
Which,
like that.
in my opinion, it would be like cramping up for a period of time.
It just all depends on what you was wringing out. If you was wringing out a T-shirt or something, or some
that
underwear,
ain't that bad.
that was
but
quick.
Some
that
jeans?
was quick to do. The jeans, that took the longest to do. Yeah. And so we did have to take that outside, and was really basically outside, but still took and hung it online. So we had to do that and bring that back in, but still evolved from that washing machine like that to actually having a washer and dryer inside the house. So that was better.
Yeah.
But Mama, tell you, Mama, if the sun was shining, you wouldn't put no clothes in the dryer. The clothes would be washed, and you gonna hang those clothes outside.
You go wait.
Yeah, and only time that we actually had the opportunity or to put it in the dryer, and she allowed us, allowed us to put it in the dryer. It had to been raining outside, or it was cold. Too cold to hang it out. Right. Whereas if it was going to be a freeze,
no icicles on it.
We did that. We grew up like that.
Tell the story. What happened? You said you told me about it.
Yeah, we had to wash the clothes and hang them on the line, and we left them outside overnight, and those clothes were stiff as a board. You can take the jeans and stand them up in the floor because it was frozen.
Yeah,
the jeans are frozen overnight.
I can only imagine. That seems the most funniest thing ever, in my opinion.
Yeah, it happened, but you know that's what you had to do. The jeans had to unthaw in front of the heater,
and then it's still wet. You didn't even get it dry.
Exactly, it was still wet. It was still wet. Yep.
That's funny, in my opinion.
But now thinking about with the washers you can operate a washer, put an app on your phone, and your washer can start at a certain time for you. So times have changed.
Yeah, and also the still process is still like manual type. Say just still gotta put in your detergent, your washing powder, all that.
Yeah,
it's still that way. But I would say most dryers have evolved more since from you can change the temperature to it if you want it a nice good hot warm stuff, or even like keep it delicate, it still be a little warm but not too crazy warm for certain materials.
I think they really had to think about that when they did the dryers.
For sure.
Or you had to constantly check, because if you didn't check, then some things got too hot for being in there too long. If you had elastic in your underwear, it was melted.
It was melted now.
Yeah
Ain't no coming back from that.
So I think that's probably maybe one of the reasons why Mama just said no, we're gonna hang clothes up instead of putting it in the dryer at certain times, because it was a time settings, certain you set it for 30 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. It's those time settings that we had to put on there. I don't think, just like you said, it wasn't a delicate cycle, permanent press, hand wash, stuff like that.
Medium, heavy, all that.
Right. So we didn't have that growing up. You just put it in for a certain period of time. Okay, if my jeans, then I need to go like 30 or 40 minutes. But if it's a T-shirt or my undies or whatever, then we probably need to put that in 15, 20 minutes. It worked out.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, it still is, quite convenient, still got, places to wash your clothes and everything like that.
But you never experienced hanging up anything outside on the clothesline. So
not a clothesline. Hanging up clothes to dry? Yeah, but not on the sense of, a whole load. If that makes any sense, But the next thing that we're going to talk about in general is stoves. That's what you wrote down.
I wrote down stoves.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, because the stove that I grew up with, it was a gas stove. So our gas stove now, we basically deal with electric stoves.
Yeah,
with
electric
you,
more sense.
because you never dealt with a gas stove growing up.
Not the one that just like a tick 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 type sense, or is that the?
No, I was. It really wanted. It was gas. It was actually gas. You had to have a pilot light lit in order for
Oh,
that
no,
gas
no,
to
no, no,
run
no, no.
through it once you turn it on.
Yeah, they must have
It'd
been
be like
electric.
whoosh.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you see them now, especially like
Yeah.
Chefs will still probably have them just
But
for.
yeah, like you say now you do hear
Yeah,
the tick tick.
yeah.
But with us, we ain't hear no tick tick. We turned it on, and you can smell the gas. And when you smell it, then if it didn't automatically come on for you, that means that pilot wasn't lit to bring that fire through the gas. Or at least that pilot wasn't lit. Whereas when the gas was turned on, with fire and gas, it should a flame would come up, and then you have that thing there to contain where the fire was gonna be as far as on the stove. But yeah, those things heat. I'm telling
Those things,
at
that's
times,
like a fire hazard. Really looks.
at times maybe, but it was certain times of the year whereas your heater wasn't working in your room, the gas heater wasn't working in your room. Mama would turn that oven on and leave that oven door open in the warm up the whole little house that
I
we was
can
in.
imagine. I know we still do that now sometimes,
Yeah.
especially around this time. Where it get cold.
Yeah. So it cooks quicker than an electric stove, but sometimes it seems like an electric stove cooks quicker too. I don't know.
I mean, I can explain it more since with electric stoves nowadays. More since it's like very it heats up everything sometimes a wee bit too quick, and you're like I only put you like on 5, like right there in the middle, and almost you're acting like we on max
about to burn
heat.
it, and then you're about to burn up something.
Yeah, and sometimes I think it's a wee bit too powerful, and just sometimes the sound like of electric
with the gas,
with the
stove,
gas, it sounds like it's more like
you
convenient.
You controlling the heat.
Controlling it. Yeah,
you controlling
like
the heat.
that.
As far as that. I mean, we liked our gas stove. You still have to watch it.
Yeah.
Because certain people's houses burn down.
That's
from grease fires with leaving stuff on because you have to heat up the grease just like you heat up the grease in the electric skillet.
Yeah.
What you all do. You still have to watch it. So some people, they have their preference as far as gas stoves, whether they want to do gas stoves, whether they want to do electric stoves. Now you got convection ovens and all that stuff there too.
Even
so
more sense of like not even stoves. It's like how it is for what is it?
Air fryers.
Yeah. Air fryer is not only like as an actual oven air fryer or most of the way that you pop in and out. Sometimes even we can talk about grills for a second. You can maintain like control of like how hot a grill can get, or even like nowadays, you can have that thing electric and it be like almost get grill marks on it and everything. So I mean, to each their own when it comes to stoves, because in my opinion, it just depends on your household and what you do, what you cook, all that.
What you need in the kitchen. Because me, the only thing I need is an oven, and I wish we had 6 burners instead of 4 at times. But then you still need that space as far as having
good ventilation.
Yeah, as far as having those 6 burners,
it can't get stuffy real quick.
Right.
With that.
When you get to cooking, especially since the holidays and stuff is coming up, we definitely gonna have to pay attention to that.
Alrighty, and the last thing we have is microwaves.
Yep, I remember Mama was gifted a microwave, and the first microwave that we got was very big. It was a big microwave, but it was a nice one. But that's the way they was making them at that time. And over the years, it's gone from being those big bulky microwaves to being a smaller one, which is still probably still have the same wattage that she had as far as in the big one.
Like, I don't think the wattage has changed throughout the years. More since I say even with the styles, it's still like it just depends on what you want.
But even with that big microwave that she had, she can cook a turkey in it. At that time,
I guess you could say microwaves evolved to air fryers. I guess.
Right, exactly. So you got your microwave with the air fryers, and I'm sure they have those timers on it too, where it probably can start cooking at a certain time. People cooking cakes and people cooking whole meals in microwave.
Literally, I'm like, you could cook a whole meal up in there. It's like, how do you do that?
But I can tell you one thing too about a microwave. They used to have the rotary thing and then when it was done, you hear like a ding.
Oh, you
Yeah,
probably see that in some old hotels
yeah,
specifically. I know I have
yeah.
seen those
So
before.
where it turns around instead of having the push button.
Mhm.
So yeah, I do remember that with the microwave. But
Mhm.
hers, the first one she got was push button. It
Mhm.
wasn't like that, but it was a big one though. I can tell you that it
Mhm.
took up a I think we she had like a rolling cart or something. Kind of like if you would think about it as far as being an island, but it was a cart.
Mhm.
So at that time when they was making microwave, they made microwave carts.
Oh.
So you would buy a cart particularly for your microwave because people didn't have that much counter space
Ah.
to really be putting the microwave on the counter. So you had your microwave, then you purchased a microwave cart at that time. But now your microwave is built in above your
Either
stove
yeah,
in the
but the
wall, and
stove and a wall.
it's
Yeah.
put in places where, well, now you have more counter space than what you had too.
Mhm.
When we was growing up, so with that much counter space, a microwave is they how as compact as they are today,
Mhm.
it's not taking up that much counter space.
Yeah, yeah, I can agree with that too. But once again, when it comes to like what we say with stoves, to each their own. It just
Yeah,
depends on what you want to do. There's so many appliances out there for an everyday household person.
I still want a stove with a double oven.
Show, dude.
Cause I mean, just saying, you think about this time of the year,
Yep, especially
you
now.
cook, you
Especially
cook
now.
a lot in there. So yeah, I do. That's my dream is to have a stove with a double oven.
Yep, that's what she
Hint,
wants.
hint, hint, hint.
Maybe for your dream house, you find a house for retirement.
Right,
Hopefully,
right.
hopefully I can do that. Hopefully I can do that for you.
I
But,
appreciate it.
but specifically, seeing things and understanding some things from your perspective, especially, I learned a lot from today because I'm like, even for me being young, I'm like, I didn't know you had to go through that. I didn't know it was like this. I'm like,
But it was
okay,
good though. It was
yeah.
good growing up. I'm not griping about how it was for us. I just know that I seen how technology evolved and it's
Mhm.
better for generations. It got better as the years came,
Yeah,
rolled by.
yeah.
It got better.
It evolves each time, and in my opinion, especially like handheld technology for like even me experiencing like desktops and like the laptops and evolution from just that to all in one, but an iPad because the iPads were more sense of that thing,
Right,
and
right.
then we say okay, y'all like the iPad, let's compress it down. We gonna give y'all an iPhone just for it to be in your pocket, you know
Yeah.
instead of like
Still
being
don't have one.
flip phones. Being like flip phones and stuff. I mean, just certain things like that. I seen that through my childhood. I dealt with CDs, dealt with VHS and stuff like that. So I mean, even hearing you now talking about like especially the stuff in the cars, I didn't expect that.
8-track tape.
Yeah, I'm like 8-track for real. I didn't know that was in like old style cars. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's very interesting for me, and I'm very happy for me to even listen to that and let the wonderful viewers listen to it as well.
Yeah, one thing I failed to put on the list, and we'll probably talk about that another time, was radio.
Oh yeah.
How the radios evolved.
Oh, it involves
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll probably talk about that. We'll probably like make a part 2 to this sometime in the future.
Or put it on a bonus.
Yeah,
Put it
like
on
maybe a bonus
yeah,
episode
a
or
bonus
something.
episode. Yeah,
Yeah.
just throw that in there.
Hmm.
Put the this and the seasonings on it. Radio seasonings on it.
But yeah, so we are going to end it off on this note. In my opinion, things evolve.
Yeah.
Things are the economy is going to evolve. It's going to at least the whole world's going to keep evolving with different technology every year, every single day. Somebody has an idea and they're going to go a full mile with it. In my opinion, you know, for it's gonna be for the better, of course, with each thing. But once again, to each their own,
Exactly. Yeah.
and depends on what you want to do with that technology. From cell phone to even your stove that you use in your kitchen. That's up to you at the end of the day. And I'm like I said, I didn't know you had to deal with certain things. Growing up, and even as like being in your adulthood and stuff like that. Even a few things for me, I'm like, yeah, I do remember hearing about that as a kid, but you never like talked fully about it, and I'm
Right.
happy you did.
Right. Yeah. So, and I do want to thank people for taking the time out of their busy schedule to listen to our podcast.
Mm-hmm.
We appreciate it. We know we new.
Mm-hmm.
It's something different to hear. We authentic.
Yeah.
We're not trying to come out here and act like we are different people because this is Debra Love 24/7.
Yeah.
This is me.
And this is Emairia Love, literally probably the most that you're gonna see out of me on the internet ever, in my opinion. So
right.
yeah.
So we really, really thank you all for supporting
so
us
much.
and taking the time out just to listen to us for 45 minutes to an hour
Yeah.
on a Sunday. Like I said, you can listen to us while you cleaning up, you cooking,
cooking,
driving in your car.
Yep.
Or
just chilling out in your bed, just listening
looking
to
at YouTube.
Yeah. Whatever. Do whatever you want, Thank you so much for listening and watching to episode 2 of the podcast, us talking about technology. If you want to follow the podcast, you can follow it at What's the Topic Again podcast on YouTube. And you can search us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and also Amazon Music at What's the Topic Again podcast. And we also have a website, which is what'sthetopicagain.com. My mom just made her first blog post today.
Yes, I did my blog.
Yeah. So what is about, at least the title of that blog specifically, Mama?
How I bounce back.
Yeah, I read it a little bit. It really gets into detail. She really does, and I think you should go read it on the website, on the blog page anyway. And you can follow me at my socials at M4RSXLOVE. I'm everywhere. I don't post everywhere, but I am everywhere.
Ain't nowhere.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna end it here.
Yeah.
We're gonna end it here. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your week, and we'll see you guys next Sunday at 12 p.m. EST.
Have a good week. Bye.